Celebrity Book Club.
Hi, my name is Katie. Welcome to Subway. Can I take your order?
Hi, could I get the turkey sub from the 500...
From the 500 calorie less menu?
Yeah.
What bread would you like?
Whole wheat?
Mayo or mustard?
Do you have spicy mustard?
Sure.
No mayo.
Okay.
No olives, no tomatoes, no onions. I don't like those.
Got it. And do you want cheese?
No cheese.
Okay, so turkey, no mayo, spicy mustard, pickles.
Yeah.
Okay. Beef, 583 with tots.
You got it. Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch. 1 week later. Let me guess. 6-inch turkey sub, right?
You got it.
No mayo?
No mayo. This looks delicious. Thanks.
I'm so glad you're enjoying the meals that I'm preparing for you as your artist.
Yeah, you guys really are artists.
Have a great lunch.
Have a great night lunch.
2 months later.
You probably guessed it. Veggie delight.
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah? Oh, you're out of the veggies?
No, I just wanted to ask you, have you lost weight?
Oh, I don't know.
I think you definitely have.
Maybe.
Well, you look pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
I'll get your 6-inch turkey sub started.
Thanks, Katie.
No problem, Jared.
Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill. It's Hollywood. It's books. It's gossip. I'm shook. It's memoirs. It's martinis. It's Studio 54. It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Hey, best friend!
What is up, my man?
Hello, my Deuterino.
Looking good, dude.
Thank you. Looking really cool in your awesome new merch.
Yeah, I'm wearing some big, the original, almost like original lesbian merch.
A Bikini Kill t-shirt.
Yes, I'm wearing a huge Bikini Kill t-shirt, but I thought I was like flipping it on its head and actually like making it a little less expected, because I feel like you think of a Bikini Kill t-shirt and you're thinking of just like such a riot girl and like a tight and it's cut off and it's kind of boat neck and it's like really tight.
Yeah, so the unexpected thing is that you're not being femme.
Yes, and I'm wearing...
I don't think anyone expected you to walk in here in a baby doll tee. Are you really changing the game right now?
I guess I should have been taking Mike Eckhouse, former guest's advice by wearing
one femme piece.
And I thought this was kind of doing that. In a way.
It says Bikini Kill?
Yeah, it's like girls. Anyway, I went to the sold-out Bikini Kill concert with my friend
badass.
Eva.
Were you singing along
Saturday.
to all the lyrics?
I was singing along to like half the songs, but I will admit this, like my generation, as we are the same age, like I was definitely more of a Le Tigre fan, as that was a little more our era.
So,
and like rocked out to Bikini Kill, but I wouldn't say I was knowing all the words to it.
As you know, my music knowledge is confined to songs that have been on soundtracks. So
Yeah.
if it wasn't on a soundtrack, it's hard for me to know. I obviously know some Le Tigre songs because they were on the L Word soundtrack.
Right. Who
Bikini
took the
Kill.
bomb?
I'm a little less familiar.
Well, speaking of soundtracks, I guess you don't watch Pen 15, but
No.
Demi Rep is one of their big songs, and that's the theme
Going
song. to
right
Pen
over
15.
the old headerino on that one. That's so funny because we were just at Guitar Center yesterday.
We were.
Just perusing the amps and guitars.
Yeah.
You were in the straight male section. I was in the gay male section, which is
So separated by stairs. which
separated
is
stairs.
good.
And we mean guitars versus keyboards.
Yeah. Guitar Center, Union Square, wild place.
Yeah. But everyone there is very like, dude, you need to learn the chords in order to know how to not do the chords.
Exactly. You gotta know the stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Those people still have a commitment to craft.
Thank God for it. You know who also has a commitment to craft? Sandwich artists.
Yes. Which brings us to the book we read this week. A book that many said we'd never do.
They said, don't do it. It's not the right time.
It's too soon. It's too soon. You can't go there. You know, it's almost too relevant.
It's too fresh. Stay fresh.
And we said, honey, there's no one fresher than Celebrity Book Club. So we just simply had to dive into all 12 inches of this book.
Oh, yeah. And the book in question is none other than
Jared, the Subway Guy, Winning Through Losing, 13 Lessons for Turning Your Life Around, by Jared Fogle, with
Anthony Bruno. And at the top of the book, it says, not a diet book, not a diet book, not a diet book. And if you're wondering if this was written pre or post arrest for having loads and loads of gigs of child porn on his big desktop,
it was pre.
It's before.
What we're calling the great before. So first of all, let me just start off. Anthony Bruno, girl. I've never seen a ghostwriter work so hard.
No.
This was one of the most ghostwritten books I've ever seen. Like, my man has bars.
Okay,
like Anthony was spitting. No, this book had so much poetry in it, and it was just like the way that he drew out these like incredibly elaborate sequences,
metaphors, sequences, descriptions
about buffets, of cafeterias, of like having to get weighed at the endocrinologist. Like these moments felt like you were there, and
like chills,
absolute chills, and like. He took like what is honestly one of the most simple, one of the saddest, like most deeply American stories I think you could possibly imagine.
Obesity.
Like not just obesity, but an obese college student at Indianapolis University who loses 225 pounds by eating at the Subway in his apartment complex.
Right. In like the student living. Well, and I'll say this. Biggest like shock to me of this whole thing was like I thought Jared lost the Subway weight at like age 30.
No,
it happened
like
at
22.
He's 22. I'm 22.
While he was taking 5 years to graduate Indianapolis University.
Well, and the reason why it took him 5 years to graduate is because the weight. A lot like
he was big.
He did not pick classes on what he wanted to study. He picked classes on like what classrooms were closest to his dorm and like what didn't have desked.
Yeah, we didn't have to squeeze into a desk. I mean, he was 425.
Lecture halls.
Or no, he was over 425. He was
I think he was 425. 425 was the top.
Yeah, we topped out.
The saddest parts is just starting to get huskier and huskier, like, and didn't want to talk about it, obviously.
And he keeps saying, and the kids would make fun of him, and
the more they'd make fun of him, the more he'd want to eat more, even though that's the reason why they were making fun of him.
Because food was his only friend. Food was the one thing where he could find solace. Food never insulted him.
No, food never laughed at him.
Food never laughed at him. Food was always there when the friends weren't, when the other kids at the cafeteria tables ignored him and went off and made their own friends.
So in elementary school, I truly started crying. They had like assigned seating, as I did in elementary school. You just had a table.
Oh, for lunch.
For lunch.
Oh, and then when
middle school.
And then when you get to the middle school and they stop doing the assigned seating.
Yeah. And he was like, have you ever seen a fat kid eat alone at a table? And same thing happened to me in middle school. In the beginning, I was like, I had no one to eat with.
Due to obesity?
Due to being a lesbian. And also once I went to this baseball camp and I was the only girl at the camp.
Yeah.
And we like shared it with like Bentley College, that like accounting college. And I would just like get my tray, sit alone at camp, eat my hot dog.
I think you mentioned this before in the pod, and it was so sad. But it also is kind of like your dream to be this like mid-level male accountant. So like, it was actually kind of a euphoric experience for you, I want to say.
Well, to become punk and to wear an XL Bikini Kill t-shirt, you have to have these things happen to you. You can't sit at a table laughing with everyone.
No, and this is the problem with today's coddled youth, is that they're so affirmed from day one, and there's like 18,000 Tumblr groups they can join. And it's just like, where is the bullying? Where is the ostracization? You can never be cool as an adult if you weren't bullied as a kid.
And Jared like thought he was going to be able to like eat with the goths and the freaks circs and the circus jesters, but like they didn't want him because they were like, well, you're like a nerd and obese, like you're not like in like, all black.
Part of it is a little bit like I think that if he were like more goth and talking about
someone still like 400 pounds black lipstick,
400 pounds black lipstick and like carrying his own like improvised like battle mage axe to school and was like more D&D, like they absolutely would have been hanging with him. Like I think like their goal is to hang out with the B-list and you don't feel like you belong, but you don't really even have the language to describe it. And luckily he meant Anthony Bruno.
Some of do you want to read some of Anthony Bruno's famous metaphors? So Anthony Bruno loves to do this thing where he's like, you wouldn't get if I'm just talking about food addiction if I didn't compare it to a few things. Shopping addictions, pot addiction, which is what's so like random and dare about this book.
Yeah,
it's like always being like wanting a pizza at midnight. Yeah, that's like a pot addict smoking more pot.
Yeah, and he's always just being like, so, and like one of his lessons is like deterrence, and it's just like, if you really like, I really didn't want to like, you know, have to get on the scale at the endocrinologist and be like afraid, or like have to get made fun of by that girl again, so I like was like, I didn't want to become fat again. So if you're a weed addict, you know, you really like visualize getting arrested for weed possession. And it's like, well, you know, that really wouldn't work anymore. But okay, it's weed addiction. It's
shopping.
Shopaholicism is something.
It's big. And one of my favorite lines was like, if you're, it talks about like, we'll get to this later about like real friends. And it's like, yeah, if they're your real friend, like they'll still hang out with you like and not go shopping. And a mad shopper like needs to learn to like leave their credit cards at home.
I mean, the thing is though, that is true because like I think of some people I know who are hoarders. As you know, I've been trying to Marie Kondo my parents' home this past week, and it has been a bit of a struggle. And there has been a lot of emotional resistance to getting rid of things that they don't use that are sitting in closets because there's a shame associated with it and there's the sense of defeat. But I think that there is a shopaholism that is at the core of that, where it's just it's like, and we don't call the term shopaholic seems very dated, but it's like that actually is kind of what's happening there because it is just like this desire to acquire.
Oh, say it again. I mean, I feel like wrestling with a shopaholicism this past week, and I had to dig deep. I was on my couch, stricken with vertigo. So listeners, you know, I get, so can't do anything. So I was like, I hadn't been outside, and I hadn't been able to wasn't doing many outfits. So I was, you know, looking at my phone, which I shouldn't do, scrolling the web, and I was like about to order like all these pairs of Quicksilver shorts. And I was like, Lily, you actually have 10 pairs of shorts. It will make me happier definitely if I buy this right now.
Right.
What happens when it ships and it gets to my apartment and I put it on? I'm just going to want to buy another thing.
Right.
The thrill is gone.
The thrill is literally adding to cart.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to go shopping in the metaverse.
With our new VR game, Celebrity Book Club collab with Vans.
I want to just like do a little bit of Anthony Bruno's writing here so we can set the
Give it up to Bruno.
The scene for people. This is from chapter 4, Find Your Personal Spark. After 3 failed attempts at dieting, I came to realize that I needed something to spur me on when I felt my resolve weakening. We all seem to keep a squirming bag of amorphous fears and dreads hidden in the attics of our lives. We try to hide them and forget about them, but I decided to bring mine out into the open and use them to my advantage. We all keep a squirming bag of amorphous fears and dreads hidden in the attics of our lives. I mean,
the attics of our lives?
And, you know, even without the child portal illusions, it's like, oh, God, like what a really arresting visual metaphor, you know? All our fears and anxieties just hiding up there, alive, you know? It's like the aliveness of them that I feel like you really see. And that description that you know, I really struck me to my core.
Oh, my God. I actually just forgot about this part that I was going to the page when he describes his parents leaving for the night.
The pizza?
The pizza.
Oh, my God. This part, yeah.
Right before I got to it, I saw the page where this is actually the time where he realized when you see the photo that he was fat is that his parents like went on a donkey ride throughout the Grand Canyon and he gets the photos. It's sad, but I'm laughing, yes. And he was like, and the donkey like looks like really sad. And the dad had to like ask the guide and they were like, are you sure the donkey is like... I'm holding back from doing
donkey. Just let it out, Lil. Let it out.
Okay, so his parents leave, and this is where it's like, they were like, have a frozen meal. And it was his whole plan to order Pizza Hut.
Instead of having the frozen meal his parents had apportioned for him.
I watched from the front window and waved goodbye to them as their car backed out of the driveway. I'd told them to have a good time and not to worry. I'd be fine. But inside, I was so giddy and excited I could have exploded. My plan was to call out for a pizza and have it delivered. A large Pizza Hut meat lover's pizza with sausage, pepperoni, hamburger, and extra cheese. For days I had been thinking about this pizza. It would be all mine. It would be like an old friend coming over for a visit. I must have been salivating on the windowsill. I was so delirious. I waited 10 whole minutes to make sure my parents were really gone and wouldn't be coming back because they'd forgotten something. Then I ran to the phone and ordered my dream pizza.
It'll be there in 25 minutes.
The man on the other end said, "Great," I said. And it was great. I remember sitting in the living room by the front window, waiting for the delivery truck, thinking this is the happiest day of my life. Me alone with a large pizza was my version of paradise.
I pulled the crumpled up dollar bills I'd saved out of my jeans and smoothed them out of my thigh. I didn't dare go watch TV or play Nintendo while I waited. What if I didn't hear the doorbell and missed my pizza? I couldn't imagine what I'd do. So I sat in the armchair facing the window and waited.
When headlights swept the front of the house, I leaped out of my seat. I went to the window. The pizza truck was pulling into the driveway. A college kid got out and started walking to the front door with a thermal pizza case. That description, like describing that thermal case of the pizza. So evocative. I ran to the door and opened it before he had a chance to ring the bell.
Fogle?
The college kid asked.
Large meat lovers with extra cheese?
I think I managed to say yes, but I might have been too intoxicated by the aroma of the hot pizza to form a full sentence. I handed him the money. I already figured out how much it would be and added a generous tip. I certainly didn't want him coming back the next time my parents ordered pizza complaining about the lousy tip he'd gotten the last time he was here. No, I had thought this through completely. And I had intended to cover all my tracks.
Oh, my God. Incredible.
Incredible, Bruno.
And like 2 straight pages of describing ordering this pizza. And in that moment, I mean, it just sets...
I'm there. I'm waiting.
And I was so hooked on this book, and it made me sympathize with him and with the plight of obesity, and like made the book make so much more sense from the beginning, because it was like... I totally, like, we all feel that way. We've all been there. And that intense desire and the excitement and the shame and the secrecy, like, all wrapped up in that one moment. And how, like, randomly, like, a pizza delivery, can...
change your life, be the most exciting thing.
And how it's like it's been imbued in the public imagination and our own personal imaginations as like being so satisfying and something that is going to just like fill every desire, and the anticipation of like getting to taste that one hot bit of pizza is like becomes all consuming. And I think
it's literally the American dream. And also, who has not? I mean, he talks about later on of like eating it. I mean, it's the famous Jacqueline Novak thing. You don't even realize you're eating pizza
until the third slice.
And I mean, who hasn't also like felt sick and kept
eating,
going?
And I think there's also something about this whole scene about the interiority of eating that is so like intoxicating and sad, and still very much part of our delivery culture today, that we all like want to scratch that itch, where there's just like
it's magic,
right? And like when we go to the grub home, we just like there's this, that even if it's sushi, when it comes, you're just gonna have that moment when it's you and your food, and usually the television,
right?
And you're just like, I'm satisfying all my holes at once. I got my eye holes going, I got my mouth hole going, hands,
ears,
right? And I'm just like shoveling, and it's all for me. And there's this, it's grotesque, but we all recognize that desire. And I think it's like Anthony helped Jared,
get it out and make it so
eloquently.
Like, it was so good to read a book about food addiction. I think this gets swept on the table, and people like to be like, it's about anxiety, it's about your childhood, it's about this. Jared says it. It tastes good.
Thank you.
I was like, yes, bitch. Okay. I was like, it's not just like, oh, I had a bad childhood, so I'm going to eat tons of Chinese food. It makes me sick. I'm eating tons of Chinese food because General Tso's taste good. I'm eating another scallion pancake because it tastes good.
And this is, of course, why he chose the Subway diet and why the Subway diet worked for him, and he says this many times, is because like people
tasted good and wasn't just like no dressing, because you're always going to fail.
Yes.
Like his friend Brenda,
the sad story Brenda, who is always, most people see diets as punishment, and if you see it as punishment, it's never going to work because you're going to be sad and miserable. You're always going to fall off the wagon because you're like, I don't like this, I don't want this. This isn't a lifestyle that I want to live, and like the reward is not satisfying enough.
Right. He tries these frozen meals before that he like, you'll see at your local grocery store. Only 6 calories, lasagna, all your favorite foods.
Subway actually tasted good to him, so he was like, I think I might actually be able to do this. But okay, so this is him at college. Most people turn up their noses at steam table food, but not me.
To call it also steam table food.
And you're just like, it just really does sound like the hot, or like more like lukewarm wedding steamers. Goulash, stuffed cabbage, ham steaks with pineapple slices, fried chicken, corn chowder, meatloaf, turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy. It was all good to me. French toast omelets, sausage patties, donuts, cheese, Danish, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. I'm ashamed to say that I actually told some of my dorm mates that my goal for the year was to make the college food service lose money on me.
Yes, bitch. And I'm like, okay, there you're like, okay, Jared, you got a sense of humor.
Yeah. He's like, bitch, I'm going to make you lose money on my fat ass.
Money. There's a buffet in Chicago.
Here we go.
Okay.
Fogle alert.
Jared Murata over here. It's specifically a Polish buffet, Chicago Public Library copy over here. It's called the Big Apple Tree buffet.
Okay, so they were like, what can we call it that's like Old Country Buffet, but not?
Right, so I
Big
feel like it's
Apple
like
Tree.
Polish Americans are like, Big Apple Tree, where you're like, that doesn't make sense. Veal cutlets, goulash, kielbasa, potato pancakes. And I remember
this old Polish grandma's losing money on you. She's pissed.
I actually don't think, I think that's where I was the perfect buffet customer. I did 2 plates and I got sick.
Put that on your tombstone. The perfect buffet customer.
Because I didn't do a third. I couldn't fit it. And I didn't feel good, okay? And that's where they catch you with buffets, if you didn't already know it. Most people, because, there's the Olive Garden Endless Pasta Pass.
You know what? I actually don't know.
You've never heard of the Olive Garden Endless Pasta Pass? It's like $100 or something like that, and you get endless pasta for the year, and they sell out in minutes.
There's no way that for $100 you get endless pasta for the year.
Yeah, but they only sell a limited amount. Because most people, Olive Garden's all creamy.
Wait, but does that mean
pastas.
you still have to order the first dish every time? Like you just get free refills for the year?
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Like-
not like you just walk into an Olive Garden and you're just
No,
like...
no, it's free. So maybe you have to pay for the salad and breadsticks, but it's endless pasta. It's free pasta for the year.
But it doesn't matter what the pasta is. You're saying I could order like a chicken Alfredo, I could order a shrimp diavolo,
Yes, babe.
and it's just
That's
free?
why they sell out so fast. And also, I'm sure there's like really tiny writing that's like exclusions. Salmon tortellini Alfredo does not apply to this
there's
deal.
always a premium on the fish.
Yeah, always that OG.
Well, and if you're Jared and you're really trying to put him out of business, when you go to the buffet, you're loading up on fish. Lacquered salmon.
Celebrity Book Club.
What I also love about this as a food book is like, it's very honest, real descriptions of like how things taste. And it's not just being like every Kate Hudson Mediterranean book that is just being like, isn't olive oil delicious? Like he's actually being just like, so this was disgusting.
Yes. Are you doing the frozen food?
Yeah. So when he's describing the frozen food, so first of all, so it's like the very first when he makes his lasagna and he's like really excited because he was just like, finally, it's going to work. I'm going to eat everything I love and just like, and still lose weight, which is basically how they all advertise themselves. This was supposed to be lasagna with meat sauce, but it didn't even come close. The taste was weird. The consistency was chalky. I mean, it looked perfect. The cheese stretched all the way it was supposed to, and the sauce looked right, but it was inedible. I know it's a cliche, but in the case, the box probably tasted better than what was inside.
To give that voice to like Jared. Darling, the box is gorgeous.
The pizza I had for lunch the next day was a pitiful imitation of a real pizza. The cheese tasted like melted plastic. The sauce was no better than uncooked tomato paste. The crust was like soggy cardboard. I seriously wondered if this was the company's cruel response to the box being better than the food cliche. The next meal, I teeted up my turkey dinner. Once again, it smelled pretty good, but the taste was a huge letdown. The meat was dry. The mashed potatoes and stuffing were blander than bland. It's just like, okay, thank you for telling the honest truth about Stouffer's and lean cuisine and their whole bag of bullshit. I mean,
yeah, that it's chalky and that like these are lies. I feel like I remember, totally 90s kid stuff. Low fat was like the big diet thing, and I feel like I remember frozen food always seemed outlawed in my home, and I would like walk through those aisles and I would like see all these things and I was like, actually these look so good. And then you finally try it. Except for a few like Hot Pockets, which are delicious.
I mean, I also really think in this book that my childhood was so Jared.
No, I know where it's like
I was literally like, this closeted kid whose parents both worked and had just like an ever revolving door of nannies and just like was like lonely, and my brother beat me up, and I was just like, I have no one to give me solace except television and food. And I would go home and just be like, Hot Pockets, strawberry ice cream, Nilla wafers, Doritos, Cooler Ranch, Celeste Pizza for one, Gushers, Mountain Dew Code Red.
That I'm heating up a Celeste Pizza for one, and I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Because it was like,
I
was like, this is so divorced, and like we were 15, and I was like, I didn't even know what a Celeste was yet. But we talked about this, it's like you had, but then it's like, I don't think you have an amazing metabolism, but I do wonder if it's the thing of like the food was there, whereas with Jared, his whole thing, it wasn't
the food
that
it was shameful and it was hidden.
He was sneaking
and
out
he was like doing much more at like, and
So
I think that creates a much more unhealthy relationship where then you're like you're binging and you're having even more when you do get access to it.
Yeah, you're having two because you're like, let me fit it in.
But I think it's also though like, for me when I think about my vices as a child, like television and the couch like was, I think, actually the main driver. Food was like an associate of the couch.
Right, it was flipped.
But it was more couch, whereas I think with Jared, food was the driver and then couch was the food associate. So he would play video games a lot and watches TV.
There's a part where he's watching TV and it's after he started his diet.
Oh, when he looks down and he sees his ankles for the first time?
Well, there's that. But no. And he's like flipping stations. He's describing also what he's watching and when he has to change the channel because like food is...
Oh, yeah. He's like, food was everywhere.
Right. He's like, a rom-com about a couple, but then they go to a restaurant. Click.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That part's
a news program, current events, the weather, a sports team, then a new restaurant. Click. Yeah. An amazing Civil War Regency film. But this might be goes. But then the soldiers start feasting on a Southern feast. Click. And it's like this big like antebellum.
You're watching like Glory and then just like it's like someone bites into a rib and you're just like, nope, can't watch this. He's like, I'm surfing the internet. And I think we all know what he was doing on this on the internet. And then he's like, and then an ad pops up for the latest orange juice.
Click. Right. And it's like, I think you watching The Desire was like, yes, let me watch Made in Manhattan again and again.
Yeah.
And you got to have strawberry Coke or whatever with that. But it was much more like, let's watch this again. Let's watch more like Charlie's Angels.
And the addiction was content, really. And, and I think, and that's still, obviously, we're all addicted. And here I am making mindless drivel for the masses to consume.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I was only allowed, I think, like half hour, an hour of TV a day.
Yeah, because you were raised in Cambridge.
I was raised in Cambridge and also the full health food. So I think my love
separated
of
peanut butter,
Italian subs is because of...
They were denied to you.
And so I want to share some with you, be vulnerable. I feel like I've had thoughts in my life, and I know it's not true, where I feel like I've always been looked at as someone not only who loves food, but is going to order the crazy thing, is going to get the jackalope burger, is going to try the like Jack Daniels salmon frozen colada.
You've made it a big part of your identity, gender, sexuality, politics.
And I feel like I did that because it's like, yes, I love food and I love the taste of it and I love adventure.
And you love your Italian heritage.
Absolutely. But I think also maybe sometimes it's been a crutch where I'm like, well, people want to see this and people will find me like funny and interesting and crazy.
It's the clown.
It's the clown. And it's like, oh, well, will people like still want to go out to eat and like have fun with me if like I'm ordering the salad, the fish?
I'm picturing
what happened
the group of popular girls just being like, should we invite Lily? Like, she's so funny and she always gets crazy subs. And she's like, no.
Have you seen her
Have you
order?
seen her lately? It's all salads. No.
Yeah, let's invite Becky.
Yeah. Becky is a hilarious orderer.
And I got a book for my 6th birthday called Snack Attack.
What?
Yeah.
Was this like a proto-dieting book?
No, it was a pro-eating book.
Oh.
And it was about like a hilarious alligator who loved snacks.
Oh, and everyone laughed at how funny it was that he was always having meatballs?
Yeah. And was like, Snack Attack, like Larry the Gator, like, you know, wants more snacks.
Wait,
Yeah,
I
so
did not realize how formative this alligator
so
book was.
I'm like, yeah, Larry the alligator over here, like, loves snacks.
I'll be just like Larry.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Larry.
Yeah. Everyone loves to see Larry snack.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, and I think now, you know, you can acknowledge that and realize that that was a motivator, but then you also do enjoy it and you can play with it and have fun with it and you realize there's a little bit of a performance to it, but it's not your whole identity.
No,
and you
absolutely
do love
not.
salads and you go hours without thinking about food.
Absolutely. Right now, am I hungry? Sure, but it's lunchtime.
Right. And it's normal to be hungry
yes,
at
I'm
lunch.
sure the whole wheatism, the stir-friedness of my childhood also did help, where I love tofu and peppers.
So you think it both helped and hindered? Like it
Yes.
created a
This
desirability
wild fantasy.
complex around what was denied to you. And yet it also opened you up and gave you a taste for things like tofu at a time when most kids are only eating really simple
Mac and cheese.
mac and cheese, sugary, high-salt food.
I remember seeing kids who could only eat mac and cheese, and I was like, you know, losers get a palate.
Oh, I know. It's so pathetic.
It's sad.
It's so sad. The chicken fingers syndrome.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I need nuggets. It's like, yeah.
Darling.
But that's on the parents. I mean, I know it's like you just have to.
It's absolutely on the parents. No, I'm sorry. My kid is a picky eater. No.
Keep it going, you know?
That doesn't fly. Not in my home.
Not in this house.
My kid is a picky eater is code for I do not have the fortitude
And
as
the
a parent,
strength.
as the strength to get them to try something different.
My cat does eat chicken for every meal. And just last Friday, get this. She ate prosciutto. She stole it. And I was like, brava, Orzo, brava. She never eats like human food. Started licking. And I was like, well, this is probably gross because like I'm also eating this prosciutto and now my cat is licking it. And then she just tore off a tiny little piece and went with it. And I was like,
What a good little girl.
yeah, I was like, damn.
You were like, Bellissima, Bonanina.
Yes.
She's a learning.
She's Italian. We knew it. We knew it.
That's beautiful. I want to talk about the kiddie porn, but to get into that, I just think there's something really, I think, necessary about this book. I think that it shows an America that is so real and prevalent. This book is very sad.
It's very sad, and I think parents should read it the way I know. You know, we're not parents, and parenting is hard. The way his parents dealt with his weight, I found very wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, clearly.
They just were like, lose weight.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a point he says, like, you know, obese people know they're obese and just like they don't need you to like your tough love or like whatever. It's just like, you know, the desire to change comes from within. Like you actually, and like, you know, and you get a real affection for his best friend, JL, in this book.
Oh, yeah. Who he acknowledges, right? Right. He's almost.
Yeah. His
right in the
roommate, who's a
beginning.
fitness fanatic and is like occasionally encourages him to go to the gym, but is really not being judgmental. And,
And like, I think he can sense his emotions where I feel like his parents are just kind of like, here's some roast beef. Jared, why are you fat?
Yeah. But this book, like basically this entire book, and again, this is credit to Anthony Boone for making it interesting, but this entire book takes place in the saddest landscape ever. It's Indiana, but it's all like cafeterias, dorms,
buffets,
food chains, buffets, like empty like his apartment, just the description of it sounds like completely empty. Like he's just sitting on the couch playing GTA alone, like ordering pizza at night. Like
there's a table,
it's
maybe
strip malls. Like there's no like, it's the school gym, but everything is just like these incredibly like desiccated, sad, corporate, bland landscapes where there's like no people, there's no life, there's no art, there's no culture. There's just like fast food and like
inspiration
and no social life, no community. It's like it's so depressing.
Well, he couldn't like. It just goes so deep. Where I think also the reason why like he had no interest because like food was the main interest, which stopped him from building other interests because he was like, I can't even explore any of those interests. He describes like one date. And it doesn't sound like horrific, whatever they go out. And he's like, we weren't for each other. I mean, with the child porn stuff, it's like, well, maybe it's, it's like you get stuck in a place when you were younger and he's like maybe stuck at 10 himself. I don't know. I mean,
let me say this about child porn, okay?
Stephen, hot take child porn.
I'll take child porn. No, I mean, I think it's very sad. And first of all, he was convicted of possession of child porn, and then I think there was like conspiracy to
go. Yeah, was it like chat? I forget.
It was very
chat?
like he had these conversations with this guy who was distributing child porn, and they found him because like the links to computers, and it's like so FBI where they're
they
like
find
pulling
the
hard
gates.
drives.
Yeah.
And like I think he had talked about like wanting to fuck kids, but like I don't think that, at least as far as I read from the Wikipedia, I may be totally wrong on this, but like it was basically classic FBI thing where it's like more of a sting, and it's just like they're getting you for like. Because like you've said you wanted to do something and then you also have all this child porn. And I'll say it's like, the crime of having child porn or jacking off to child porn, like the sexual coercion of children and what the awfulness that goes into making that is awful. But the crime of actually just jacking off to the porn, you're no more guilty than someone who does coke is guilty of the violence in the drug trafficking industry.
Right. It's like, the problem is obviously the making of child porn.
Right.
And obviously they feed each other.
Yes.
They're not going to make child porn if
yeah,
you're
exactly.
not downloading the child porn. But
but
it's what's so sad about pedophilia in our country. And I think it's like different in Italy. I don't know where I've read this. But is that like how it's so hard to get better?
Well, yes, because
it's like because you go to therapy, then most likely
they're going to report you.
You're stopping
no
yourself
way
by downloading the porn, then
and the carceral response is completely wrong. I don't know if you saw that documentary my brother worked on called like The Untouchables.
Wait. Maybe I watched this documentary about like these like 7 men who are all sex offenders, and it was like the most
in
depressing.
like Florida.
Yes, it's the most depressing
my
thing
brother
ever.
shot that, and it's like it's insanely sad. And it's like, and some of the stories are, it's like, yes, like someone did a very bad thing once, but like there's no chance for them to ever. We all know our prison system does not reform anyone. And it's just like,
and it ranges obviously from like peeing in a school ground to like downloading child porn to like jerking off in front of your daughter. So like
jerking off for your daughter, or like, but then there's that one where there's like an 18-year-old like woman who got pregnant by a 17-year-old man, and now she like she's convicted of statutory rape. She is like having to watch her own child play from 500 feet away at a playground. It's like the saddest thing in the world.
The sex offender laws are
they're so draconian and wrong. And I think, and this also, and you also know, I worked on that insane software program that like Ashton Kutcher is an investor in.
That like fines sex predators.
Yeah, and it's called Thorn. Like, as in, like, children are the rose, and this is the thorn that protects them.
Oh,
so creepy.
So weird.
And I did come up with the line, until every child can be a kid. But when we were doing that brand, I felt so like, I was like so uncomfortable with the fact that we were just like working with like police departments, and B, that it was like we find people looking at child porn so we can like take them down. I'm like, these are sad men like Jared alone in their like Indiana dorm eating Subway who need some sort of like
a different sort of rehab,
a different sort of intervention than putting them in prison for 25 years.
And then what are they going to do when they get out of prison?
the cycle of abuse then just continues.
Right, and they're pent up with all this anger. So
I think it's very sad, and I think this book does a good job of like showing you the environment in which that sadness thrives, and why there is.
And
so
Jared
much
begs.
sadness in
He
this
says,
country.
"Don't pity me, don't pity me."
Yeah,
And it's really hard to fight that. And
Yeah.
I mean, we all have it in us. Like when you do see like someone
well,
who's like,
I thought I like that he's like pitying. Like
There's no
being
help.
nice to a obese person is not pitying them.
no. But he was just
Yeah.
like, if you just pity them, and he's like, people who would like look me in the eye, like Katie who worked at Subway, who like actually did look at him and take his order, and wasn't people. A lot of people just avoided eye contact with him. I want to read this part at the end. He's lost weight. He's 180 pounds. Once when I was on vacation in Hawaii, I happened to be standing in a hotel breakfast buffet line when I noticed a shy little girl in front of me. It's
you
kind
did.
of chilling. Hiding behind her daddy's legs. She must have been about 4 years old, and she was absolutely adorable. We made eye contact, and I waved to her. She immediately hid behind her father and then looked up at me to make sure I was still paying attention, like craving this girl's gaze at him. We did this for a couple of minutes. This is like his first flirtation to me. When her father finally figured out what was going on, he turned around, and that's when I realized that the little girl's father was Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow,
Chilling.
absolutely chilling.
His point of that story is that Jerry Seinfeld knew who he was.
Yeah, and he was like, "Isn't it crazy that I'm famous?"
To me,
Right?
that
You saw something else.
yeah, I was like, you're flirting. Like you were also 4. You were finally 180 pounds.
Yes,
And you are a
the
little
stunted
boy
development. Yeah,
on vacation who finally has confidence to look anyone in the eye.
I know, because you literally have not looked anyone in the eye your whole life. Because when you were in middle school or in elementary school, what he calls the popular girls, the killer bees.
Killer bees.
Which I am obsessed with.
We are
And we
such
need
killer-
to, we are killer
killer
bees.
bees.
We need to start calling our friend group the
Yeah.
killer bees. And like,
And we're both wearing yellow, and Jared is wearing a bright yellow button down.
it's Yellowtown.
So
I'm getting
Hung-
starving. So Lily, I have a surprise for you. The surprise being a little bit revealed because you can see the bag sitting here on our table. Before our recording session, I went to a little store known as Subway. And
I'm so excited. Like I'm so hungry right now, and I'm watching you.
I got
the clear
to the
bag
best of my ability. I got Jared's order. So Jared's Subway diet.
for lunch.
So he lost 250 pounds
He went from 425 to 180.
to 180 in 11 months. No exercise. Literally not a lick of exercise.
Well, sometimes he started walking to classes.
Yes, but it ended
Yes.
up being walking.
Right.
Never saw the inside
No,
of a gym. By having a coffee for breakfast, just a cup of coffee for breakfast. Lunch, a 6-inch turkey club with diet soda,
No cheese.
no cheese, and I as I was ordering, I forgot the things that he didn't like. I thought it was no tomatoes.
Yeah, it's no tomatoes, no olives, no onions.
Okay, I did get olives and onions. Sorry.
Well, honestly, better for me. So
Okay, and then for dinner, he would have a 12-inch veggie delight
and he
and
was so,
a bag of baked Lays and another diet soda. And when he first tastes the baked Lays, he's like, they were different, but I still liked them.
the smell of the Subway, Stephen, that you have brought here.
God, I love the smell of Subway.
I've really gone back and forth. They're also right next to my college main building was a Subway and a Cozy. And I famously hated Subway. I was like, it's a fake sandwich.
Yeah.
But there's something about the smell that
Yeah.
sometimes it hits like. So there's so much saliva in my mouth. I'm watering.
It's a very salty smell.
There's nothing else like it. The
Yeah.
smell of the bread. It's like, what is it?
So let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Why don't you
So
dive into that?
I'm going to
turkey?
dive into the turkey. This is again Jared's
lunch order.
Lunch order. Spicy mustard.
Yeah, I put mustard on it. So yeah, he says, and no mayo, oil, or cheese ever. Vibe check.
Vibe check. Pretty good, except for, and this is very Subway, half of it, the bread has gotten pretty soggy and wet, but that's because it's been sitting here.
I do have to say, when my artist made it, I saw him, he wasn't being such an artist about it. He kind of slapped it on, and then the fold he did was not really like, he kind of folded it from like the midpoint as opposed to just like having it be more of like a book that you close. He kind of like rolled it almost in this way that I think made it a little less nice. It's almost giving wrap as opposed to like a closed book, which is really what a sandwich is. And I think that's why sandwiches are such an important thing to eat while you're reading, because sandwiches are a book.
Sandwiches are the book. And I think what's good about Jared's Order, and I've never really been like such a mayo person, is it is the spicy mustard. I mean, the red onion gives a lot for me, even though he didn't.
I'm gonna bite into the Veggie Delight here. This is phenomenal.
I've never had a Veggie Delight.
Pop that in your little cornhole.
Because I would use at Subway.
This is phenomenal. Let me tell you something. Okay, it's very salty. Basically, none of the ingredients in Subway are amazing, but you put enough together, like if the proportions are right, it's going to congeal in this way that really tastes like normal ass good food. I've got spinach, onions, pickles.
It's the pickles
olives,
and the onions, and I think
and then there's spicy mustard, and you're like, yeah, this is giving sandwich.
Why Subway, I think, and the weight loss program is because of the endless toppings.
Yeah,
that you can get with it.
Yeah, it feels generous too.
Yeah,
I think
it's not more. You're like, wait, hold on. So I can get onions, I can get banana peppers, I can get pickles, chopped tomatoes.
It's very important visually, I think, because we eat with our eyes, and especially if you have an overeating issue, it's like you feel a fullness even just looking at the sandwich that I think is very satisfying. Wow, honestly. And now it's like, I'm thinking about Jared's extraordinary weight loss journey, his conviction.
I wonder, how would you do the Subway diet but with child porn?
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
15 minutes for lunch. 30 for dinner.
No, but you have to be looking at adult
regular porn.
So yeah, you would make let's bump it up a little. Let's say 20 minutes of like it would have to be some equivalent where it still tastes good, you know what I mean? But it's not like so actually naughty. So I think you could do like 20 minutes of like mother-daughter or like mother-neighbor, some other illicit power relationship. Stepson.
Yeah,
and honestly, like that's basically all porn now.
Stepson. So,
it's all stepson and it's like stepmom. So I think you could, maybe let's say 25 minutes of like barely legal teen and MILF. And then at night you could do like 30 minutes of like, S&M or like something like start to explore a different kink that's a little bit more specific.
Right, and it would just because you get so stuck in the path you need.
Yes.
Yeah, you got that little bit of lettuce.
I think that's genius.
Okay, let's start a center.
We're such good social workers. You know what I mean?
Celebrity Book Club.
Six-inch segment sandwich. Hold the mayo. What does she eat? What does she wear? How does she live? What does she eat? I think we've covered that.
Yeah, I guess. Well, he can finally go out to restaurants.
Right.
After a while, when he hits the 180 and he goes to a big Italian restaurant, and I was so impressed, and he eats
like the grilled chicken salad or whatever.
Yeah, and his all friends are getting big piles of pasta.
Oh, when he sees that guy who used to make fun of him, who's actually gained a little weight, and that guy is slurping spaghetti.
Yeah, and his fat, and he goes, and his revenge, she walks by and he goes, "Nice seeing you, Harry. Have a good one."
Yeah, I honestly,
boom, bitch.
I was cheering a little bit.
Subway sub drop. Yeah.
Okay, what does he wear?
So the classic like style
normcore.
Yeah,
he's just Jerry Seinfeld 90s normcore.
But he reveals, because we see him in this
cover. The fat jeans?
In the class, him with the fat jeans in like, the Jerry Seinfeld look.
Well, I like that he says that he washes the fat jeans regularly because he's always taking them around at like speaking engagements.
Because they're like, "Do you have the jeans?" And he's like, "Yeah." And now it's like he always has those jeans with him. Yeah, and I guess now he's in stripes.
Yeah. Jumpsuit. Normcore jumpsuit.
One thing about
belting his
what does
jumpsuit?
she wear, one of my frequent eBay searches, and this goes back to my shopaholicism and the emptiness that's inside of me when I go on eBay, is in the Adam Sandler film Billy Madison. Mm-hmm. Adam Sandler wears a faded Subway t-shirt that's just a white t-shirt with the classic Subway symbol, and I have been looking on eBay for that T-shirt. And vintage Subway tees, like a one that's like faded, not just like a huge bright green, like new Fiesta Melt T-shirt, which would be funny on me as well. They're up.
What about a faux distressed Fiesta Melt Subway 12 inch?
And I put it in the dryer like with rocks and I slash it and bleach it.
I love at the end of the book when he's like, it's like frequently asked questions and people are like, what do you think of Subway's new menu items? He's like, I love their sweet onion teriyaki sandwich.
I know. Still going. Anyway, I haven't found the perfect vintage Subway tee.
Okay.
Grails,
Christmas
Club kids.
list item.
How does she live
a
cell?
cell.
Wait, I wonder though, like...
Wait, he has kids.
What?
He has a wife.
Stop.
Yeah, he got married in like 2009. And has 2 kids.
Oh, it's even sadder. I didn't realize that. He has kids. I wonder if they visit.
I bet I feel like he probably has some like so many like prison letters and like people are always falling in love with like famous inmates.
Yeah.
I bet he has like so many like.
Oh, it's so National Enquirer and he's like writing to some woman.
Yeah, she's just like, I was in love with Jared the Subway guy for 17 years. Now he's finally out and we're married.
But I guess, okay, how does he live? Let's do a how does he live?
Like before?
Like, before. I mean,
I'm just picturing like dark, empty gray.
Yeah.
Like
brown
maybe
couch.
like one very sad like Airbnb art that's like a fake painting of Times Square. You know what I mean?
I think it was like that or even more like Thomas Kincaid.
I don't think it was that like mom. I think it was so planned.
But like when he was married. And then I think
she had a Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah, and I think maybe just your classic like Raymore and Flanagan got the 6-piece set of the dresser and the side tables and the lamps.
Mm-hmm. Heavy
to the boots, yeah. But I think he's pretty clean. I think it was very Seinfeld in this way of also like a yellow shirt, a gray shirt, button down, and a pink shirt, and like pressed jeans.
Yep. Okay.
Who are you in the book? I mean, yeah, I related a lot with Jared. Loving food, sometimes not being able to stop.
Yeah.
Do you think
I'm JL, his
you're
best
a little
friend?
JL, like
fitness fanatic. Non-judgmental fitness fanatic.
But like saying sometimes, being like, hey,
want to go to the gym with me, Keister?
Yeah, just like a little, he was like, JL was blunt. You are a bluntress.
Yes.
You were definitely a bluntress. And he was like, JL liked to have fun. But when he was studying. And I feel like,
right.
You can get in the zone.
I can really buckle down. But I also like to have fun.
I give this book 4 6-inch
24 inches of turkey club.
Oh, yeah, with the math. 24 inches of turkey club. It was a real fast read, and it was really surprising and sad, and I cried at the end, and I think it's in the American tragedy of our podcast, I think it was very interesting to read about someone who was winning.
I agree.
And who was lost.
Our podcast is an American tragedy. Yeah, no, I think for those very same reasons, I give it a 4.5 new notches on a belt buckle.
Poked with a knife.
That insane scene where he's poking the belt buckle with the knife is crazy.
He acted again. He was like, I made sure. It's so much secrecy again and shame because this is before he didn't want anyone to know he was losing weight because then they would get so excited, which would be like so annoying. It's like if you've been single for a long time, and you get a boyfriend and people are freaking out and it's like, okay,
then it's even like more embarrassing for you and then they're going to jinx it. But yeah, for all those same reasons, I just think that it sheds so much light. And I was really kind of shocked by this book, just like how eye-opening it was about like so many different facets of the American experience that I think this should be required reading.
Mm-hmm. People talk about health class. Okay, and they're like, calories, read this in health class.
Yeah.
This and 30 minutes of
30 minutes of milk porn. And you know what? Order a 12-inch veggie delight the next time you're at a Subway. See how you feel.
So done. Well, it's been grand.
It's been another roaring app.
Thanks for bringing the subs. You really satisfy me, and I feel perfect right now. I don't need more.
Not too full.
Not too full at all. I can really go on with my day.
Okay. Well,
Well,
best.
I'm best.
Slover's Book Club is presented by Total Life Project. The story is produced by Benjamin Frisch with editorial support from Leon Nayflock, Andrew Parsons, Arlene Revelo, and Madeline Kaplan. Our production narrators received Lynn, our intro is Noah John, our original theme song by Stephen Goldschwartz, artwork by Teddy Blanks at Chips NY. I'm starving. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review. And don't tell your friends about us. And go to patreon.com for access to your P-Line to talk about food and restaurants, and it's like basically 2 episodes every week, which is a really good deal. So at patreon.com/CBC The Pod. Thanks so much, guys. Stay healthy.